Hey guys, it's me, MTG Angel. I wanted to discuss supply and alternative assets, which I believe is almost the main driving force. So let's first talk about Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. Any item that they've made to date has continuous supply or demand. And you'll see people continue to buy. If you look on TCG Player or eBay, there's probably a sale or two in the past, maybe a couple months, if not yesterday. And a lot of people don't want to accept that supply is finite for every single item, but demand is continuous. What that ends up doing is over time, the price just goes up. Now, it might not be a lot, it might be a little, but the supply is going down and the price is going up. And as people continue to either buy or lock away some of these items, that's one less item that's going to re-enter the market for maybe a long time coming. This has substantial effects on the market over a large amount of time. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin also has a finite supply, just like Pokemon boxes. And one quick thing, I noticed on one of my last videos, someone replied and said Magic the Gathering and Pokemon is fiat because they have reprints, and I don't think that they understand the true stability of the supply for these items. So let's take a box. Let's say Pokemon Company prints 100,000 of some item, and then people are buying it and the price goes up and they print another 100,000 of those items. And another. Let's say they print 500,000 of those items across the 2 or 2.5 years that this item is in its life cycle. That's a finite supply once they stop. It could be a lot. It could be 500,000. But even that 500,000 is finite. And the principles behind stuff like Pokemon and Magic the Gathering incentivizes people to open and destroy and burn the supply. I'm going to use the word burn because that's closer to what ends up happening with a lot of cryptos, is sometimes the supply gets burned. Sometimes the supply is locked away forever because someone loses access to their wallet or their keys, or they send it to the wrong address, whatever it might be. A lot of crypto over time gets lost. A lot of Pokemon and Magic get lost because of accidents like the Palisades fire, or things like when you ship it, someone takes it and it gets replaced by Marvel cards. Maybe someone does a stream and they want to have an expensive box on their stream get open for views forever. That is one less item on the market. And because Bitcoin has a finite supply of 21 million, you've seen this principle play out across its entire lifespan. In fact, you could consider most Bitcoin investors as collectors. These people are collecting Bitcoin, and you see the price go up slowly because these people aren't selling it. It doesn't matter what reason they're not selling it, but people aren't selling their Bitcoins, and even as the price goes up, there's continuous demand. You see something like this happen with Pokemon Evolving Skies, Lord of the Rings Special, where although these expensive boxes are at their all-time highs, people are continuing to buy them. And what happens when people continue to buy something? The price gets moved up. And the demand is maintained and the supply shrinks over time. If people continue to want Evolving Skies booster boxes and Lord of the Rings Special booster boxes, the price is just going to keep going up. Now you have the inverse of this happening with the United States dollar, where as banks and the government borrows money and prints money, you see that the value of things goes up according to the dollar because the value of the dollar goes down. And you have an inverse supply curve where the demand, sure, it's going up, but the supply is going up even higher. And actually, you could argue that the demand might be falling for the dollar in some days and some weeks and some nations, because there's other competing assets like Bitcoin or other nation currencies. the yuan, the Chinese yuan has risen in dominance. And so that's kind of shaken out the United States dollar. You've had all these cryptos going up in dominance, and so that's shaking out demand for the United States dollar. You have gold, even Pokemon booster boxes. Every time you trade the dollars away for something else, you're betting against its future. And all those bets across every nation and all of these different categories of items and goods, it does have an effect on the United States dollar. And that's what we've been seeing. We've been seeing the price for everything rise tremendously. Do you think that gas and eggs and all these things suddenly got more expensive? Or maybe the United States dollar got cheaper? Let's give an example. When the Evolving Skies first came out, it was about $100. Right now, it's about almost, let's say, $3,000. When it was $100, you might have wanted to trade any other $100 item for it. You can consider that alternate item as the United States dollar. But as the Evolving Skies has gone up, you need to trade more and more of those items to get one Evolving Skies box. And that's what we're seeing with the United States dollar. You need to trade more and more dollars for something like an Evolving Skies box. And really the principle I've learned is supply has such a large effect on things. And it's almost the main effect. I mean, demand for things seems pretty stable for the most part. People continue to want to engage and purchase these items, even stuff like Bitcoin. It's not like demand has fallen. In fact, maybe it's even grown, but let's say it was finite and stagnant, and there's a continuous amount of Bitcoin demanded at any moment, the price is going to go up. It doesn't matter what this thing actually has in it or what it's worth, the price is going to go up. And that's not to say that Bitcoin has no value aside from being an item or a collectible. But because it is an item and a collectible, it has value with that to some people, and the price is going to go up. You have this with various booster boxes. A lot of times you could open that box and you would never get anything worth the same amount as you spent on that box. And if you do, you got lucky, and maybe you have to grade it. And sure, there's some work that you can do to get some value, but you also have to get lucky, and odds are you're not getting the value that you paid for that box. But because these boxes are collectibles, price is high. So that's pretty much the concept I wanted to talk about, is how supply seems to be the main driver of a lot of this value appreciation that we're seeing across all assets. And supply is finite. It doesn't matter if this is something that's being reprinted or something that can be printed in mass, like the United States dollar. There is a finite supply, and that finite supply, it does cap value to a certain point. But as that supply shrinks or grows, it will increase or decrease the value of the item just from the supply side. So hopefully this helps you get some ideas on maybe how you see your investments, and maybe you can understand that sometimes it doesn't really matter what you buy or what the white paper or the use case is behind it, or even the angle that you have, as long as it's something that has a finite or fixed supply, and that supply is going down according to as compared to the demand. If the demand is stable for an item that you're looking to invest in, and the supply is going down and shrinking, this item is probably going to go up in value. And when it hits these certain points, it could really pop and double and triple. I mean, look at the whole course of Bitcoin. It's almost, I think it's better than the Pokemon market. But you can compare it to the Pokemon market, and if you've been watching the Pokemon market and you believe in the future of those items, it's almost insane to not believe in the future of something like Bitcoin or even Ethereum, that the reprint, if you want to compare it to reprints, the reprints can't keep up with the continued demand. That's it. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know how you feel about me thinking that stuff like Magic the Gathering collector boxes or even some of the non-booster boxes, it's not like Fiat. Fiat's reprinted forever. These items may be reprinted for at most 2 to 3 years. And after that, it's kind of done. Unless it's Foundation, which the base booster box is going to be reprinted for 5. But here's one little thing about Foundations. The set won't go out of rotation for another 3 or 4 years. That means those collector boxes are going to have cards that are going to be played for another 3 or 4 years, which means those collector boxes are going to be relevant for longer than any collector box that they've ever made. That's an interesting angle, and that's why I've been incredibly bullish on Foundations. And even at this incredible price, there's a lot of room for growth. Foundations could reach $2,000 a box. If Eldraine could do it, Foundations could. Anyways, let me know what you think. Like, comment, subscribe. Please support my channel, and I'll see you guys later. Happy stacking. Stack assets, not fiat dollars. Peace.